So, hi, I'm KB with Nerdophiles. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, last time we talked about season one, you mentioned the importance of kind of subtle nuance throughout every episode of your show. And there's a fine
Mhm.
line between kind of chaos and clarity in Vince's life, which obviously speaks to the human experience we all go through, but particularly kind of the through line of grief he's experiencing from Uncle James's death. So, what does Uncle James in life and in death kind of ultimately teach Vince about how he wants to show up for himself and his family this season?
I think it's a matter of perspective. I don't like to kind of explain the mill too much, but I think when you look at the character himself, it's a motif for grief, regret, um, celebrity circumstances, obviously coming off of the events that transpired last season. Vince kind of can look at his deceased uncle as an example of what happens when someone who deals with any level of celebrity or success or that would come with its own survivor's guilt and things of that nature. What happens when they make a mistake and how that mistake can haunt you for the rest of his life. So with Uncle James literally haunting Vince, it forces him to kind of deal with the circumstances of his decisions. And it kind of spirals after that point. But he's a steady reminder of, of living with your demons, so to say.
I like that you said it that way, like living with his demons, because it is interesting how all throughout the episode, Uncle James really is kind of following him, and telling him to protect himself. Is there an aspect, I guess, of black male mental health, that kind of speaks to why you chose to use Uncle James's ghost in that way, maybe?
Um, I mean, yeah, definitely that's just part of it, just based on, my circumstances and me kind of being the creator of the show. It wasn't something that honestly was like thoughtful. I just think we try to be honest, and that's something that comes with it naturally. I think the death of OJ was very poignant, especially coming after the season and kind of being in season one. So I just kind of took that as a way to combine the two situations, both having a kind of our reality and the universe of the show, and utilize him as, a polarizing figure, so to say. And the way that people perceive him, everyone perceives him differently throughout the episode. And Vince is hearing all these things, questioning himself, questioning his own perception. And he's not noticing those things consciously, but, it's in the background and it's in the way that kind of he moves throughout the season. So it's very much so a part of it, but I wouldn't say that it was something that we thought to put on the page. I think just being honest with the perspective of, a black male in America, it gave us that.
Okay. And then in episodes four and five specifically, you kind of do this thing where you create a physical black icon space. And I really found that those kind of episodes were so deeply layered. Can you expand just a little bit on where that idea came from? Because at first watch, and I watched it a couple of times, Vince is kind of seemingly in a place that's supposed to be a quote unquote safe space for us, but ends up really just being another white controlled and centered space that he has to flee.
I think, I don't, like I said, I'm trying to get out to your time. So I'll give you a tidbit. I think it parallels a lot of things. One of them could possibly be like celebrity or fame or the idea of success and, what it entails, what being championed entails, and even the idea of a safe space within, this country is going to come with its own limitations just based on, population, and things of that nature. It's not that many people running around here, but that are us. But I think yeah, it kind of just it was a fun way to kind of explain how fame or celebrity or success can be perceived by certain people. You know, people say like things like black excellence and all that kind of, bullshit. So I think that, it's always been something that was interesting to me. So we just tried to kind of give a fresh perspective on it.
Well, listen, I absolutely love this season. There were so many different layers. And like I said, I actually had to watch it a couple of times just to pick up on a lot of different things that were happening, just in terms of like family, racism, to your point, Black excellence, so many different nuances. And I really can't wait for audiences to see it. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with Nerdophiles. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys always.
Thank you.